Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid unboxing. Today we have the Legendary Rangers Forever Pack. The Legendary Rangers set lets them put out Rangers that are like sort of duplicates of each other. The first one is the Tommy Oliver pack. This is Forever Rangers, which is the secondary set of Mighty Morphing team. So when Jason, Zach, Trini, and Kim left, they replaced them with Rocky, Aisha, Tak, and Adam. So you get these versions. And you're also going to get an Alpha 5 in here too. If you had backed the Kickstarter and you got the Kickstarter box, they came with alternate character cards for these four Rangers and an Alpha. So what's neat about this was when they made this thing, they're letting people that maybe didn't get the Kickstarter get a hold of these. But then you might be thinking, well, I have the Kickstarter. Why would I bother to buy this? Well, the Alpha 5 is a completely different deck. All the character decks are completely different decks. So, the character cards, so like the Rocky, Aisha you saw on the actual Ranger cards, are going to be the exact same ones that were in the Kickstarter. So, if you had the Kickstarter, you have a duplicate. It's kind of the same way when they made the Tommy one and they reprinted the Green and White Ranger. Is that one they kept the decks the same, but they printed off new character cards. This one they did the opposite. But they have new decks for the characters for each colored ranger, just to show off some of their different stuff. Plus, we're going to get some new Zords and things like that. Different sculpts. So even if you have the Kickstarter, this is definitely worth it if you like the original Rangers. As a variant rule, the basic attack, this was brought up in some of the other stuff. And basically fans suggested something like this and it got made into it. So during your battle, if you don't have any other cards you want to play, you can discard one card to roll one die to do an attack. They can still be modified by anything else, but if you have either too high a cost cards or you only have reactions and momentums, you don't have something triggering them, this at least gives you something to do instead of, oh, I guess I have to forfeit my turn for the next 3 attacks and just take a bunch of damage. It's definitely a cool thing to add in there. They recommend using it in every game. So the replacement Rangers, basically what this is saying here is, so when you pick one of the Rangers, so if you pick Mighty Morphin Black, you can either pick the original Black deck or the new Black deck. And if you pick the original one, you can use either the Mastodon or the Lion Thunder Zord. So these decks aren't tied to the new Rangers. This is Mighty Morphin Black. So there's nothing that says that this is the Thunder version versus the original Dino version. Alternatively, down here it's saying that you can swap out cards. So if you like one of the cards from the new set, but you want to put it in the old deck, you just have to swap out equal number of shields. So one cost shield card can be swapped for another cost shield card. And you can do that kind of, I guess, however you really want. You can either be like, oh, if there's 2 of this one, I have to swap it for 2 of the other. Or you can swap 1 and 1. Give you some different things. So it just lets you make your Mighty Morphin Rangers more versatile. We also have mention of the Legendary Ranger mode, which is brought up in the Tommy Oliver pack as well. What this does is it lets you choose any number of different Rangers. You take their characters, their matching figures, and their decks, and you construct a brand new 10-card deck that has to have a total of 20 shields. So it's either going to look like Deck A, Deck B, or Deck C, depending on how you want to do it. So you can't just load it up with, a bunch of, oh, these are high-powered 0-cost cards, or these are all high-powered 3 cards, that you have to have the same number of shields. I think the original rule said it had to be between 18 and 20, so you had a little bit of flexibility. Looks like they've refined it a bit. And then basically what you do is, while you're playing, you use whatever current character card. So let's say if I wanted to do the, like they did the Tommy one, or let's say for this one, I want to do, a Rocky Adam deck. I could mix the 2 decks together, and while I'm playing as Rocky, the Red Ranger, I use his card ability. I can still play red cards. I can still play black cards if they come up. That's not an issue. I just only use his active ranger ability. And when I'm choosing a Zord, you may choose one Zord that matches your deck. So I can't have 4 Zords to choose from. I can only have 1 Zord at a time. But then whenever I perform a move or a cover action, I can switch to a new ranger. So I can be like, oh, in this battle, Adam's ability is going to be better than Rocky's, and I can change over to that ranger instead. So that's kind of neat. And then there's Alpha 5. Alpha 5 is very interesting because basically he has 2 different sides, and we'll go over that a little bit more when we get to it. But he plays a little bit differently than the other Rangers. So let's look at who our Rangers are. First, we have the Red Ranger. And again, like I said, if nothing else, you're at least getting new poses for these characters. Kind of cool. So there's his power sword out, getting ready to attack. Look at his character ability. Zoom in a bit here. So we have Rocky dos Santos. Mighty Morphin Red has Bravery. When you reveal a card for defense, if that card would be placed on the bottom of your deck, you may add it to your hand instead. So basically, if he takes damage, he gains some extra abilities. And that's kind of what Rocky's deal is with lots of his cards here, as you will see. So we have Sturdy Blow, 0 cost attack, does 1 dice plus 1 hit, has a star for defense. When this card revealed for defense, it gains 1 shield. So again, if he takes damage, we get 2 of those. We have Square Up. I get 2 copies of that one. So it's a 0 cost reaction. Play this card at the end of any turn in battle. If you suffer damage during this turn, gain 1 energy and place this card on top of your deck. So it's again, he's taking damage. He's kind of like where the Jason leader was more about giving bonuses to his team. Rocky's more about jumping into the thick of it. So he's going to take damage, but he's going to benefit his team for that. So if he takes damage, you're going to gain energy. This goes back on your deck, so you're ready to take another attack. This one's really interesting. So we have Square Up. You can see him hanging out with the White Ranger now. Risky Move. 1 cost maneuver. Suffer up to 3 damage. Any ranger may immediately play 1 card. If it is an attack, add a number of dice equal to that attack to the amount of damage you suffered. So, bare minimum, you can say, I'm going to take 0 damage, another ranger just to play a card. Kind of pointless to do. Why not just have them play a card and not spend the energy? But what you can do is you can take up to 3, depending on what you think you can afford, and then you can gain bonus attack. And then it works with his other ones, where his main abilities is reveal a card for defense. He can gain extra bonuses. The one gives him extra bonus if it's revealed. Put the other one on top of your deck so it's ready for taking damage. Yeah, so he kind of works all around that. And then we have Haymaker. 2 copies of that. One die, so he doesn't do all this extra damage like the other Red Ranger does, but he's add 1 die to this attack for each defense on the top of card of your discard pile. So definitely get some extra bonuses there. Then the last 2 cards we're going to have are going to be the Power Sword and the Blade Blaster, which are the exact same ones from the other deck. They did not change their power weapons. Because basically the other ones are showing the versatility of the particular ranger, like Rocky versus Jason or Adam versus Zach, but their weapons are going to stay the same. Their weapons obviously don't change regardless of kind of who's using them. But Power Sword does 4 or 5 dice. Next time any ranger performs an attack during this battle, add 2 dice to that attack. And of course, Blade Blaster is Pay X, special attack. This attack deals the amount of hits equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. You may divide it amongst any number of targets, and every Mighty Morphin Ranger has that one. Alright, then we're going to look at his Zord. So he gets the Red Dragon Thunder Zord. Exhaust this card when any ranger performs an attack. Add 1 die to that attack. Any ranger may discard 1 card to add 2 more dice to that attack. So it kind of goes with that red theme of getting to add extra dice versus a defensive ability. But yeah, that's definitely a cool card. So the minimum, you add 1 die. Otherwise, other rangers can add up to extra dice. If you need to finish your attack, you can definitely get a bunch of stuff from that one. Alright. Up next, we're going to have Cat Hillard, the Pink Ranger. So she's cocking her bow. And she's going to have Agile. When you suffer damage, before revealing a card for defense, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. So this is showing off her, she was a dancer. It's showing off her ability to, like, move around. What's also neat is because you can kind of compare these to their Zeo versions, because these guys were also in the Zeo set. Most of these Rangers. Which I think Aisha wasn't. I think they replaced her already at that point. I don't remember. So we have 2 copies of, yes, I think it's Tanya. It's Tanya in the Zeo set. It's Aisha in here. So Rocky, Cat, and Adam are all in the Zeo set, but Aisha's only in this set, and Tanya's in the other one. So Tai Chi combo. 2 dice attack, which is the top 2 cards of your deck. Place each card on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So Kimberly was all about doing pot shots with her bow. Cat is all about kind of dancing around and kind of manipulating what your damage is going to do. So, like, with her ability Agile in this one, you get to choose what, essentially, you're going to be taking for damage. We have Fancy Footwork. 2 copies of that. A reaction. Play this card when any ranger suffers damage. Gain 1 energy. That ranger may look at the top 2 cards of their deck. Place each card on the top or bottom of their deck in any order. Such a, again, mitigate where your damage going. Works really well with Red Ranger. Cat's Grace. Maneuver. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an attack, you may immediately play it and add 1 die to the attack. You may place this card on the bottom of your deck instead of discarding it. Definitely cool. And then Agile Shot. So you get your bow ability. 0 cost 2 dice. And then Defense. When revealed, this card for defense, you may swap it with a card from your hand. Apply the shield value of that card instead. Again, getting to play around with what you take for damage. It's also kind of neat as you sort of look at these. You can tell that, assume the Mighty Morphing at the time, they're not the original team from the base set isn't when they first started. It's after they've been experienced for a while. Kind of look at this set as being, this is right after they took over. And that's why they're maybe taking more damage. They're a little bit more inexperienced. They're not sure what they're supposed to be doing as Rangers. They're still learning. And then by the time they become Zeo Rangers is when they're more of the experienced versions. So Power Bow does 6 dice. Ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for this attack. And, of course, the Blade Blaster. Alright. And then we have her Zord. The Firebird Thunder Zord. Exhaust this card, shuffle any ranger's deck, then reveal the top card of their deck, gain the energy equal to the amount of that shield's value. So like that kind of sucks because her entire deck is based on manipulating where the cards are going to be, and then this will make you shuffle it first. But still definitely an interesting ability. You can gain extra energy every turn. Versus Tim's just doing a hit. Alright, then we're going to have Aisha Tambo, Mighty Morphing Yellow. Momentum. Once per battle, after defeating enemy card with an attack, gain some energy. So here's her. She's got like a crouching dagger slash attack. That's like pretty cool. Let's look at what she can do for us. She's got Snap Kick. So Trini in the original one was all about, lots of her stuff was about playing duplicate cards, playing the same card twice or cards in a row to do extra damage. So Aisha does 0-2 dice. Add 1 dice attack if this card was not the first card played this turn. So as long as you go second, you get an extra die attack. So that's definitely comes in, does like a finisher. Unstoppable Force. Force reaction. Play this card when any ranger defeats an enemy card. Remove all excess hit tokens on that card and gain that much energy. So you can kind of see where she's sort of a finisher character. That's what she's kind of going for. We have Griffin Strike. 1 energy, 2 dice. After you resolve this attack, you may draw 1 card. If you do, you may immediately play 1 card with an energy cost of 0. So she's getting her extra hits in. So like versus playing double stuff, she's getting extra hits. And we have double up. So this kind of falls back into that same thing of maneuver. Any ranger may search their deck and discard pile for 2 cards with the same name. Add both of them to their hand. If they search their deck, they must shuffle it. Yeah, so that kind of works with the other one, but he also, definitely doesn't hurt to be able to find 2 cards that you really need. But you can't play your power cards because you need to have 2 of them. And then we have the power daggers, 4 dice, 3 energy. After you resolve this attack, a ranger of your choice may immediately play 1 card. And then, of course, Blade Blaster. Yeah, she definitely got some interesting effects. As I like, you can come back and after you defeat a guy, after something's done, she comes in, she does cleanup stuff. Where Trini sort of seemed like she was more like, I'm gonna, just kind of charge in again. She's kind of more reserved and she holds back a bit. We have the Griffin Thunder Zord. Exhaust this card after any ranger plays a card. That ranger may immediately play another card with the same name. That ranger may then draw a card. That is powerful. That is awesome for this deck. Again, it works on her doing multiple hits and stuff. Alright, up next we have Jonathan Ying, who's one of the creators of the game. His favorite character, Adam Park, the Black Ranger. I love this figure, by the way. Adaptable. Once per battle, you may swap a card from your hand with the top card of your discard pile. Here we have him holding his axe in gun form. And I always love that, because I used to have a set of the toys. And I love that this could turn into a gun. I like the fact that the weapons all had dual purposes. Like Billy's clubs they're the lance or they could be dual clubs. And I like that. And I think, I'm not positive, but I want to think the power daggers for the Yellow Ranger could also become nunchucks. But I'm not 1,000% sure on that. But let's see what good old Adam can do. Here we got Rapid Hit. Got 2 copies of that. 0 cost, 1 attack. After you resolve this attack, perform a second attack with 1 die. While this card is on top of your discard pile, add 1 die to each of your attacks. So that's definitely cool. So basically, you get 1 attack, and then you get to do a second attack with another die, so you get 2 attacks. But that second attack would also... That's actually a good question. I wonder if the second attack would gain an additional die, because I don't know if this would hit before that goes to your pile or not. But even if it doesn't, your next attack gains 1 extra die too. So that's even powerful in itself. And if you're playing with the Zack version, Zack was all about hitting multiple guys, spreading damage out. Big damage, spreading it out. Adam looks like he's a little bit more of a, more minor damage, but doing it a little bit better. So he has Leapfrog Strike, 2 dice, attack. While this card is on top of your discard pile, gain 1 energy each time you perform an attack. And with his adaptable, you can swap a card from your hand to the top of your discard pile. So you can force these cards onto your discard pile to gain their bonuses, which is really cool. Which really makes him neat, because rather than doing more attacks, he's doing a little bit other stuff. I love this. So he's shooting off his cannon, his axe gun. Exploit opening, 0 reaction. Play this card when another ranger defeats an enemy card with an attack. Deal 1 hit to an enemy adjacent to the target. So that kind of goes back to the Zack one where you just hit multiple guys, like splash damage. Yeah, it's a free 1 extra damage to another card. So you can't argue with that too much. And then we have him using his cannon again. Cosmic Cannon. 1 cost, 3 attack dice. When this card is on the top card of your discard pile, ignore guard keywords when choosing targets for your attack. So it's awesome. You can use this, get your 3 damage, goes on. Your next one has ignores guard. Or you could adapt it with his ability, throw it on there to use it currently with whatever you have. So if you know you're going to play Power Axe, for example, you could adapt that, put it on there, ignore all the guard. So 3 attack dice. After rolling, choose 2 dice from this attack and deal that much damage to each enemy adjacent to the target. So imagine how you roll 3 dice. With this, you can then choose 2 of them dice, do that much damage. We also ignore all the guards. You can hit pretty much whoever you want. Or you can play the other one that gets you an extra die for whatever's there. And if you do that, then you gain 4 dice. Gives you 2 more options. So it's really cool. Some definitely interesting stuff. And then, of course, we have Blade Blaster. And let's look at his Zord. The Lion Thunder Zord. Exhaust this card during any ranger turn in battle. Defeat 1 foot soldier instead of playing a card. So defeating a free foot soldier is definitely helpful. Just gets him out of play. Can't argue with that. Pretty simple. Alright, up next we're going to have one more Zord. We're going to look at the Unicorn Thunder Zord for Mighty Morphin Blue. So in case you were wondering, where's the Blue Ranger? Because at the time, Billy stayed the Blue Ranger. Everyone else at some point left and went their own way, because Kimberly left first and swapped out with Kat, and then later on, Jason, Trini, and Zach all left to go to a United Nations convention, thing like that, some sort of global peace initiative. So they left to go do that, so the other 3 replaced them. Spoilers in case you don't read the comic books at all. Those 3 actually become the Omega Rangers instead. So that's kind of explained why they didn't just go to this peace conference for 6 months and then come back to the team, because it actually became the Omega Rangers, which are in the next big box set. So we're getting those 3 Rangers again in new Ranger power forms. But that's why Billy stayed the Blue Ranger all the way through Zeo. Or up into Zeo, so that's why he wasn't in this set. So they didn't want to reprint him when his cards wouldn't be any different, because he didn't change. But that's why we got Alpha instead, because Alpha's training the new Rangers. So Thunder Zord, Unicorn Thunder Zord. Exhaust this card. Choose a number of cards in a Ranger's discard pile with a total of 4 shields. Place those cards on top of the respective Rangers' decks. So it's kind of a very helpful one, because you can choose any number of Rangers, or number of Ranger cards, and you can basically fix your damage. Definitely cool. Alright, so our last quote-unquote Ranger is Alpha 5. Alright, so what's interesting about Alpha 5 is he has 2 sides. He has an active side and a non-player side. In the original one, in the Kickstarter, had the same thing. And they have very similar abilities. They're just slightly different. And I kind of feel like this is the like update, like they play tested the original one. They're like, okay, this way works better, so this is probably like the recommended way to play. But this is what Alpha does. So he has Servant of Zordon. He has Mission Control. Because so this is while your figure is in the command center, you may participate in battles taking place in outer locations. If you do, you are not considered to be in the battle for the purposes of enemy card effects. So what this means is Alpha can sit in the command center, and he can play cards to other battles that he's not. So basically, he's in any of the battle, he can send help or play cards and affect whatever's going on in whatever the current battle is. But if it says this guy takes damage, they do this. Alpha doesn't take that damage. So what makes Alpha a really fun thing to do is if you're maybe a new player, and you're playing with trying to teach some people the game, is you could take Alpha and let the other players play as Rangers. Then that way you're helping them out without taking control of everything. It's just kind of a neat, like, or like a parent can play with kids. The kid's like, I want to be Rangers. You can be Alpha, helping them out, giving them assistance without actively being like one of the Rangers saying, oh, I'm going to go here, or I get to choose who attacks. It's just kind of a neat thing. His other side is the autonomous support. So it's a non-player variant. A friend indeed. At the start of each round, reveal cards from the Alpha 5 deck to refill a max row of 3. So in this one, you set Alpha, his character card aside, and you at the beginning of the game, you lay out 3 of his cards. Any Ranger may discard 1 card from their hand to play an Alpha card 5 from the row. After resolving it, place it back on the bottom of his deck. So it's the same way as you can put him out there as an additional, like, oh, I need to gain extra cards, or I have a 5 cost attack I can't use. Or something like that. You have, your power weapon, you don't have enough energy. You could instead choose to discard one of those cards to play one of Alpha's cards to give you more bonuses. His cards don't really have a lot of attack powers. They're more stuff that lets you do recovery and things like that. Now, I alternatively do want to show off the original version, just as a comparison. So the version where you play as Alpha in the original Kickstarter one, and both of these ended up being gray and they don't have the non-player part, says, little robot, aye, aye, aye. Aye, aye, aye. That's a terrible impression. You cannot move from the command center, you cannot perform the battle action, but you may play cards in every battle regardless of location. So that's essentially the same thing as the new one says. They just worded it differently. Except for what is neat about this one is because Alpha has the ability to go to battles. And the distinction between those two is that in the newer version, the Forever Rangers, since he can move to locations, he can activate battles. When he's stuck in the command center, he can participate by playing cards and taking turns and stuff, but he can't start a battle. And there's the difference right there. So this one can actually, if you really had to, you could have Alpha jump out and start a battle with Rita and spending his points there. And that frees the Rangers up to go to them. The original one, he did not have that option at all. But then his second ability is, when you perform the recovery action, you may allow another Ranger to recover instead. Because he can't go into any battles, he's never going to take damage. You can perform your recover action and heal one of the Rangers instead. Whereas this one, it doesn't give him that ability. But the other thing that is different is this one does specify you are not considered to be in battle for the purposes of card effects, where this one doesn't say that. So you might, even though you're in the thing, you might be able to take damage, but you can perform recovery and help other people. This one you can move around. Essentially, they're more or less roughly the same. And then if we look at the AI version, we have supportive AI. Recovery boost. When any Ranger performs a recovery action, they may choose to recover up to 2 fewer shields in order to draw an equal number of cards from Alpha 5's deck. When any Ranger plays an Alpha 5 card, shuffle it back into his deck. So it's similar as you did use cards, but the difference is this one, no matter what, you can always discard one card to get one of his cards to use it. At the start of each round. So you have 3 options, and they're going to constantly refresh. And you can just, I need that one for this turn, you can do it. Where this one, you have to go back to the command center, recover, but then you can put, up to 2 fewer cards. You can put, up to 1 or 2 cards in your deck, and you can use them later at any time. So it's sort of a difference between the newer one lets everyone have access to a couple of alpha cards at any time, but you have to sacrifice one of your current cards to do it. Where the recovery one is you're just sacrificing when you're just recovering your deck, but you get the cards in hand. So it limits them. Is one better than the other? Not necessarily. They're just different, which is really cool, I guess. I mean, it's definitely an interesting thing. So because they could have just, done like the other Rangers and just reprinted them, and then it would have been the exact same card, or they could have reprinted it with maybe like just slightly different text that made it a little bit easier to understand. But they're actually different cards, they do different things, so you get a little bit of choices there. Alright, so Alpha's deck is completely different from the original one. So here we have Zord Maintenance for 0 cost. It's a maneuver. Gain 1 energy and ready 1 exhausted Zord card of your choice. So if you're playing as Alpha, you can just use these cards during your turn, help out your team. If you're playing a Ranger, you could discard a Ranger to play this instead. So we got 2 team efforts, which are reactions, 1 cost. Play this card after any Ranger plays an attack card with an energy cost of 0. Another Ranger may immediately play a card. So that's definitely cool. Get extra cards that way. We have Energy Barrier. Reaction. What's nice is that lots of Alpha's cards don't cost either 0 or 1. She's not eating up all the Ranger's extra energy. Ranger Barrier. Reaction. Play this card when any Ranger suffers damage. Roll 3 dice to reduce that damage by the number of hits rolled. So you could get 0, you could get 3, depending if you get 1 on each die. You could also get 6. It's definitely cool. And then we have Coordination. 1, Reaction. Play this card before any other Ranger performs an attack. Add 1 die to that attack. That Ranger may return that card to their hand instead of discarding it. So you didn't use the card a second time. That's definitely cool. And then we have 2 copies of Combat Protocol. It's a maneuver. Any other Ranger may perform an attack with 2 dice. That Ranger may choose to either reroll any number of dice during an attack or gain 1 energy. And I like the fact that you get to do it first, roll the 2 extra dice, and then you can reroll any number of dice, not just the 2 that they rolled, but any number, or gain 1 energy. So you roll really well, great. You roll terrible, I can pick 2 dice and reroll them. So it's kind of a neat little thing. And then we have Battle Teleport. Maneuver. Move any Ranger from the command center to an outer location of your choice. So it basically frees them up for them to spend their thing. If a battle is currently taking place in that location, that Ranger may immediately play 1 card. So it makes that even cooler, is because just the fact is, with a Ranger, normally they have to spend one move action to move to the command center, then use another one to move back out. So it costs them 2 things to go in and recover themselves in the command center. They could spend 1 to move there, and then this card could move them into a battle. But then they could actually move there, and they could, I got 2 other battles going on. They could wait to see which one they need help with. You can move it there, and plus they can jump in. They don't have to spend energy to move. They don't have to spend energy to activate the battle, and they can jump in and hit with a card right away, and they have a full hand. So if maybe the Rangers get devastated by some other card effect, he can come in afterwards and help play cleanup. And also, with the Legendary Ranger mode that we explained at the beginning of the video, you can mix and match these cards with the other Ranger cards if you have the Kickstarter Alpha. So that gives you even more options. Alright. Then we're going to have some Megazords. Save the best. The best and the biggest. Oh, wait. We didn't show off the alpha figure. No. Ay. No alpha. I love that he's gray versus one of the colors. Because, like, his card colors are blue. I think they just did that, but they made him gray instead of one of the colors because he's a neutral figure. And I really thought that was a neat idea. Alright, so of course we have the Thunder Megazord. For any of the Mighty Morphing. Each time any ranger performs an attack, they may reroll any number of dice once. Free rerolls on all your dice, definitely cool. Combine that with some of these other effects, neat. I wish it was not just any attack, it was just any time they had to roll dice. That would be kind of cool too, but we also got the Tiger Megazord. So this is neat because this is your regular Tiger Zord, but then he becomes the Megazord form because he combines with the Thunder Zord. So you got the Griffin, Unicorn, Firebird, and on his shoulders he has the Lion. The only one that's not there is the Red Dragon, because the Red Dragon could turn into its own Battle Zord. So that's kind of the neat thing there. But yeah, then you get an extra Megazord there. So exhaust this card to place the Megazord token at any location. At the end of each battle in that location, roll 5 dice. Deal that much hits divided as you choose among enemy card. So nice. So yeah, basically, he finishes up the combat. He'll jump in, he'll be like, hey, everyone's just about done. Let me move him. Boom, I'm going to finish him off with whatever I have left. And then we have a very special card that's not really a Megazord, but it kind of takes the place of one. Is you have the Power Blaster. So once per ranger turn in battle, any ranger may discard a card to place 1 hit token on this card, a max of 5. So you're forming your weapon, essentially. Exhaust this card at the end of battle, remove all hit tokens from it, and deal rolling equal number of dice. Deal that much hits divided amongst you choose amongst enemy cards. So this works if you kind of look at the ability. It works very much like the Tiger Megazord. Here, you automatically get to roll 5 no matter what, and then spread them out. This one, you have to build up that points, and you get to do 5. So someone said, why would you take one over the other? Well, the difference is this is a Megazord, so you have to get all your 5 Zords together. This takes place as one of your Zords. So if you're playing, that's essentially if you're playing this, you can have this take place of the Lion Zord or the Griffin Zord. And then you can slowly start building this up to do 5 damage whenever you need to. Or more than 5 damage. But yeah, I love that they did this. I hope they start including more, some more different, power weapons and things like that, because they're definitely, cool ideas. I know Battleizers were the other thing people were hoping for. They did, the Red Dragon Shield in the Kickstarter, and they're hoping that people might include more of that for some of the other ones, especially, Super Ninja Steel, Super Samurai, Super Mega Force. They all got super forms. Otherwise, usually the Red Rangers always got some sort of special form. So it'd be neat if they did something like that. Like the Dragon Shield worked out well just because it was take cards from Tommy's deck, put them in this deck. Or they're copies of them cards. So you could essentially do that for a bunch of the different Rangers. But alright, that's Heroes of the Great Legendary Rangers. See you guys in the next video. Bye.